Hello and a very warm welcome to the Women Leading Show. I am very thrilled to be here. My name is Jo Baldwin-Trott. I'm the editor and publisher of the Women Leading book, Women Leading More Now. This was our first edition, became an international best-selling book. It's available on Amazon, as all things are these days. But very thrilled to be here with a guest who is here to talk about an incredible charity at which I heard about that a number of years ago. I'm very thrilled to introduce you today to Jeanette Kruger from West London. Hi, Jeanette.
Hi, Jo. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you for coming on the show. It's really great. We connected a long time ago through your other half.
We did.
Yeah, and I remember one of the first things he shared with me was what your charity was, and it just blew me away because I'd never heard of anything like this before, and I was just really, it went to the core of who I am as a woman. I thought that is just so wonderful. So your charity is Zabra. I was about
Zabra.
to pronounce it wrong. Zabra.
Yeah. It's Zabra, Afreebra initiative. When the reason I started it is very simply, I had 4 bras and I took them to a local charity shop here in Southwest London. And the first one said to me, well, they can't do anything with it. They'll just throw them in the bin. And I thought, well, they're my bras. They are very special to me. 2 of them still had tags on and the other 2 were, I don't think I've ever worn them, but the tags were no longer on. So I said, no. And then discovered that they would just throw them in the bin. That's what they would do with them. So I then went to another charity shop and said, I have these 4 bras, thinking that they're good quality, they knew someone would like to buy them. So she said, well, we still can't sell them in the shop, but we can send them to fabric recycling. And I thought, well, that defeats the purpose a bit because, I don't want them cut up. And I have since read up about fabric recycling. They do one of 2 things. They will either cut them up to become undercarpet matting or cushion filling. If they are decent quality, they will then sort them and then sell them in bales to trade. So basically going out of the country to be sold in markets, which defeated a bit of the purpose for me for wanting a charity to make some money off this. And the only other thing that happens with it is it goes to landfill. So I decided, I sort of took my 4 bras and I left and told a few friends what has happened. And they all said, oh, but we all have bras. And I came up with a name and Zabra Afreebra initiative was born. And that was in September 2015.
Oh, it's fantastic. And what a great start, a really good reason to start it. Oh, sorry, Jeanette, actually turn your volume down on your speaker.
Is this better?
There's quite a lot of feedback coming back. A little bit more, if you can. Sorry, it wasn't doing it before we went live, but it's there's a Joe echo.
So let me take that off.
Okay.
Is this better now?
I think it's a little bit there still. But well, we want to hear from you mostly anyway. So I will keep what I say nice and short anyway. So fantastic, and obviously you started off with South Africa because that's where you're from.
Yeah. Well, it's the thing is that in South Africa we don't throw things away, and I knew that I could, when I take my bras to South Africa, there will be someone who would use them, So that was the idea behind it. I mean, literally within a week, I had 40 bras. Never mind only my 4. I also had 36 from friends. So I was sitting there with the 40 bras. I created a Facebook page. And I honestly didn't know what was going to happen. I thought what I'll do is I'll take my bras to South Africa. I'll take a few pictures, show everybody what a great thing we've done, and then that would be the end of the story. A lot has changed since then. In the 5 years that we've been going, we have delivered over 100,000 items. That has gone to 30 countries and to 250 charities and projects. So something that started with, a few bras that I was going to give to someone in South Africa actually then became a full-blown international volunteer network. And I sort of think, it wouldn't have happened if I didn't just sort of put the word out and spoke to people about it. But one of the things that we then learned very early on is that I don't now allow any photos on our Facebook page of the women receiving the bras. And that happened purely because one of the, two charities that we helped early on, one was for human trafficking victims, and the other one was a shelter for abused victims. And I learned that any social media posts actually get scoured because they are seen as belonging to someone. So with the result, I just made a blanket decision, and we now just don't allow any photos. We allow photos of the organizations, of the volunteers, where they get the bras ready, but just not of the women receiving. We feel that their dignity is important and that there's no need really for it, to show them or showcase them. I had someone saying to me, "Oh, well, if I can't see where the bras are going, I don't think I can donate to your charity." And I said, "That's absolutely fine. Then I'm sure the charity shops will be very happy with your bras going into fabric recycling, but then we are not the right charity for you." And I'm still very adamant about that.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic, and I think it's really powerful that you've kind of recognized that, because social media isn't everything. We don't need it. You've got this amazing charity, and I think it's great that you can embrace that, but actually people donate their bras to you because they want them to be passed on. It's not about where they go or what happens. So I think it's really powerful to actually allow them just to be part of the process to support women. So this is amazing. So obviously you didn't used to, lockdown has happened and everything has changed for you, because obviously you used to ship them straight out, didn't you, to South Africa mostly. So now you're working on a more of a local basis, is that right?
Well, so one of the things and the way that we operate is that we ask people traveling to basically give us some luggage space. So we don't load bras into containers or anything. As people travel, and especially people traveling to South Africa, we ask them to take the bras in their luggage. So I have a few people who regularly traveled before lockdown, obviously, that would travel business or first class, and they would normally give me a suitcase. So, and 20 bras weighs 1.3 kilos. So if they give me a suitcase, I can easily get 200 or 300 bras into the suitcase. And that has obviously, and that is how we have delivered the majority of the bras that we have into South Africa. When lockdown happened, I think I was sort of stunned for a bit, because I have just made connections with a whole lot of airline crew from various airlines who were all very happy to help. And that, of course, all just came to a complete standstill. What I do now, and I have to admit, I do not take any donations in the UK at the moment, just purely because we don't have space. Our garage is full to the top. I mean, so bad that we can't get the door open anymore. And then the storage facility that I rent, it's a tiny little space. We've now just filled it up. So that's where I normally would pack, but we've just filled it up. So I can't take anything more here. We are putting an appeal out for local charities. If anybody knows about a local charity that would want bras from us, then that would be great. we would love that. At the moment, we're not going anywhere with the bras because we can't. Most countries still do collect because they all believe that things will be okay again and it will sort itself out. So, so for the time being, we sort of a little bit halted, but we are starting to pack the week of the 6th of April. And then once we have stock ready, if there are any local charities, then we would love to supply them with bras. They can get as many as they need, and then they will sort it in sizes on their side and hand out to the women in their care.
Brilliant. So if anyone's watching this and they know of any women's refuges, any charities really, women's refuges, where the bras might work, that you can forward it. Yeah, that sounds great. So I will put an appeal in the comments to this, because I think it's it's a great way right now. Hopefully people will be watching this. So I'm sorry, we do have a bit of feedback, unfortunately, but never mind. I've also, one of my charities I work very closely with. Oh, sorry. I think maybe there's a Wi-Fi little dip, but we should be okay. But there's a charity in Manchester that I'm connected with, and I'm actually the patron of, and it's Soul Sisters Empowering People. They help men, but mostly women, in domestic abuse environments, and they end up, generally a lot of the women end up in shelters. So I will start spreading that word out. Hopefully you've got my bag. So sorry to add to the pile, because I sent you a bag a little while ago of bras too. So what else can people do watching to help, Jeanette, for you? Because it's such a great initiative. It's wonderful.
Well, I think you were talking about abused women. Now, one of the things that we've discovered is that when women are in an abusive environment, so if they're working with a charity that's going to try and get them out of that situation, they will pack a bag, they will pack a grab bag that they will then take and leave when the opportunity opens up. What we've discovered is that a lot of the women will pack everything for the children that they need, all the papers that they need, and they will end up packing nothing for themselves. So one of the charities that I work with in South Africa, because we do work business to business mainly, they told me that they were able to save so much money by just taking the donations from my side, because otherwise they will have to go and buy it. And although it's not a huge amount of money, it is still an unnecessary amount of money, considering that we have items here in the UK that actually ends up, not really being used in the country itself. I mean, it's either in landfill or it's either in fabric recycling if someone doesn't want it. I mean, there are many things, and when life returns to normal, then donations. So I have names for my volunteers. So we have cup collectors, and they are people who spread the message with family and friends, and they will then get collections together. In South Africa, mainly, I have cup holders. I have also some in Germany, in Denmark, in the US. But the cup holders becomes a collection point. So the cup collectors will then hand over to the cup holders. And the cup holders will then, in South Africa specifically, but also in other countries, then be that person between them, between us and the charity. So they will find the charities, they will go and deliver the items to the charities, and to make sure that they get there. And then when travel open up again, or even when people locally, I mean, my husband has been one many times, the people helping us to transport the bras are called the cup bearers. Now, I have since discovered that a cup bearer is also the person who tastes the wine for a nobility or a king or a queen. So I said to my husband, So I said to my husband, you are a cup bearer, and the risk that you're running is that you're going to be stopped in customs with a suitcase full of bras, which I think he dreads every time he travels with me, that he will be stopped. But yeah, so that's how we sort of set up with our cup bearers, our cup holders, and then the cup collectors. And it's everybody is a volunteer in this, you know. They they can spread the message by telling people, friends and family. And if they can, for the time being, hang on to the items for us, I'm sure later in the year things will get better, and we are looking at different options to get items out of the country. And then we'll be able to start receiving items again. So that's the one side of it. You know, the other one is where if you know of someone traveling and they are able to give us some luggage space, because the way that I'm doing it is I'm tapping into people traveling's luggage and travel allowances. And then they will help us. They will have a letter, a cup holder. We make all the arrangements up front. So when they arrive in the country, there will be a cup holder collecting the bras from them. And then the cup holder will, so they basically just, or as one of my cup bearers, who is an attorney in Cape Town, and he travels to London quite a lot, and he sent me a message saying, I would like to be one of your bra mules.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And I thought that's quite a clever name. so he was applying to be a bra mule. Yeah. So it's things like that. And then the local charities, I don't believe that, you know, local charities will say that they don't take secondhand items. But to be honest, a lot of what we receive actually has tags on. We take the tags off, obviously, but they are brand new. And the quality of what we receive are just absolutely great. So I can't, and I have supported some local charities before, especially ones that are packing containers for refugees. There's been a homeless shelter in Marylebone that has taken some stock from us in the past. So there are charities like that that can benefit from taking items from us, but we need them to contact us. So if anybody knows who they are and can get them to contact us, then that would be great, because then we can get in touch and start to get more items out from our side. Now, in my mind, that means that it's just going to open up more space in the garage, where Jeremy thinks we're going to get the garage back. It's not going to happen, I'm afraid.
Wow, bless him. So that's brilliant. So if anyone's listening to this and they know a charity that helps women, basically refugees or women's refugees over here, women's shelters, anything like that, then please reach out to Jeanette. You are on Facebook. If you just search Zabra, Zabra on Facebook, you will see Jeanette and her charity.
Yeah, it's easier if they search actually for Afreebra, because I have since discovered there is a company that does networking whose name is Zabra or Zabra. I'm not sure how they pronounce it. But if you search on Facebook for Afreebra, one word, then we will come up, and ours is all in caps, and it's a Facebook page.
Brilliant. Yeah. And all my friends, so I'm now in the East Sussex coast. So anyone who lives in the Brighton, Hove, Worthing area, then obviously I'm a cup holder. Yeah. So send them my way. So many women have bras. You know, it's a given. Sadly, I mean, let's not even go there. Why we end up buying these bras that don't fit, aren't comfortable. That's a whole 30-minute discussion in itself. But women generally have bras in their drawers, like you say, some pretty much brand new, if not with tags on, that you don't end up wearing, you don't end up taking back. And these can really help. Like you say, if you're a woman who's grabbed that bag, they've grabbed everything for the kids, and left a domestic abuse situation, then you know there's such a beautiful offering for a woman who's has nothing, especially in those first initial stages. So I will definitely do a bit more research in my local area where I'm now at, Jeanette, because I used to live quite near the not far from the refuge in Ealing, but I'm not sure where they are here yet, but I will definitely reach out. So yeah, and obviously if anyone would like to become a cup holder, cup collector, then please let me know or reach out to Jeanette, because it makes such a difference. I know a beautiful seamstress from West London, Larissa Cusack. She sent you another bag for your carriage, but she has a massive. She works with so many women, as helping with them with their clothes, and she's been creating masks over the last year. So I know she's always collecting for you as well. But I see where your issue is. So let's get some more. You've got all this incredible stockpile that you want to share. So if you are listening and watching this, and any organisation and charity that would really appreciate these bras. And obviously, Jeanette, let's come back to you, because you recently have had a change in your own career and job. This is obviously, I should imagine, a bigger part of your life now, as you've left your other job.
Yeah, so I sort of see myself as semi-retired. But yeah, the one of the reasons I've decided to leave, I've been in a corporate role for the last 36 years. And one of the reasons I decided to leave was because I wanted to spend more time on Zabra. In the meantime, alongside this, I have been appointed as a board advisor for a company, and I have a second one in the pipeline. So it's going to become my sort of 3 areas of focus as such. But yeah, so I think the main reason for me why I wanted to do this is because, and this will make a lot of women laugh. So all my male colleagues, so they used to be very excited about the whole idea of Zabra. And then they will all come with, but you know what you should be doing? And I sort of think it's not due to a lack of ideas from my side. It's due to a lack of bandwidth. I'm working a full-time job. I'm running a full-time charity alongside this. And I tend to run it from 6 to 9 in the morning, then start working, and then carry on after sort of 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. And weekends were taken up packing bras, and a lot of what I do is just the logistics between the USA and South Africa, between Australia and South Africa, anywhere in Europe, is just to keep all of that going, because you need to sort of keep the momentum going. So hopefully this year we will have a website, which I will start to put the effort into designing. We will hopefully also have a chatbot, which my colleagues in one of our hackathons were very good to create a chatbot for me that I could use on the website. So there's all of that in the pipeline. And because unfortunately with lockdown, but once that opens up, then hopefully I can then start to shift more items and turn it into something much larger than it is. I often say to people, when women, when they ask me why bras and why am I doing this, I said, there are a lot of women who can't afford something that we see as a everyday item, but is actually quite a luxury item in some countries. And if a woman has to make a decision between putting food on the table for the family or buying a bra or anything of a personal nature for herself, she's going to look after the family first. She's not going to sort of say, oh, well, I need a bra and therefore I'm going to buy it, when she doesn't have the money to put food on the table. And I often say it's for those women that we're doing what we're doing. Now, the debate always comes in, when it's a developed country, the need is still very much the same. And we're lucky in the UK that we can buy underwear at very cheap prices. When I was in South Africa in February last year, I went to have a look at what is the cheapest price that a woman can buy a bra for. Now, remember, they are on much less income, and it was still expensive. It was still too expensive for a lot of women. So therefore, I will most probably continue doing what I'm doing, just purely because I know that there are women out there who can't afford their own. You know, I always say that because I've mainly run Zabra up till now without any money involved. I sort of self-funded everything, and I always say that our currency is bras. It's one bra equals one happy woman out there who wanted to receive a bra from us. And then it's also the stories. I mean, again, that's why I keep on doing it. You know, is when we supplied to a school in Soweto, outside Johannesburg, and the women, the head teacher came back and she wrote us a letter, and she said, for the first time, the girls can also participate in sport. Up till then, they didn't, because they didn't have a bra. They were too embarrassed to go and run where the boys will then mock them, taunt them, shout, abuse at them. And suddenly, a lot of the girls suddenly said, well, we can now be part of the netball team, or we can now be part of the running team. And that it's those kind of stories that you suddenly realize it came along. That was not when I set it out. I mean, I had no such noble ideas. It was just we had something that goes into landfill. I want to give it to someone who can use them. And yet where it starts to make a difference, you know, and we have a lady, two ladies in Durban, in KwaZulu-Natal. And they did a lovely video for us that's on our YouTube page. And they were both saying how they grew up very poor, how they didn't have access to bras, where the one went to school without a bra on, and she was so embarrassed. And it becomes the difference between walking with hunched shoulders and walking with straight shoulders. And you sort of think suddenly you've given someone that little bit of dignity, that little bit of confidence back. And but what was very interesting was they then became involved as handing out bras in the community where they live, in the rural part of Natal. And the one woman said she handed out all the bras. There was one lady who didn't know how to put it on. She's never had one in her entire life. She was 69 years old. And she had to show her. And then the next morning, all the women were back there. They came to clean her house because nobody has ever given them a gift of that nature, which was just for them. It wasn't for the family. It wasn't for anybody else. It was a gift just for them. And, it makes such a difference when you hear those stories.
Oh, they're beautiful stories. Wow, 69 and having never worn one. Goodness me, it's just remarkable. And I obviously, I'm very thrilled to actually mention that you are going to be part of the next Women Leading book message, which hopefully you'll be sharing these stories in. That's so powerful. You know, we assume these things. We go to the drawer and I've got a selection like, oh, which one should I wear today? And these women just don't have any. But the story for me about the school children, you know, and I'm so passionate about sport and physical activity. That's just really powerful to hear that. So yeah, I'm really, really excited to be.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, it's like we now have one woman in Johannesburg, and that is all that she does. She just supplies schools in Soweto and Alexandria. Now we need to get the stock to her. And when we were in South Africa last year in February, I think we took about 700 or 800 bras over to her. They were gone. Within 2 weeks, they were all handed out. All went to schools. The one school has 2,000 girls in. I mean, 800 bras is not going to cover everyone. It is just the need is much larger, and which is one of the reasons I'm sort of thinking I'm most probably sitting on about 10,000 bras between my garage and the storeroom. And we just need to get them out so that they can go and make that difference that we hope that they would make, as such.
And for me, that I'm just sort of thinking wider picture, but girls, women, they struggle so much with period poverty. Having their period stops them from going from school. All these things are preventing girls get the education they need and deserve. So I think it's just it's a lovely part of that same message, isn't it, of supporting. So if you're listening and watching and you are a traveller to South Africa, then please obviously get in touch as well, because I personally would struggle, but I would absolutely make sure that I have the room in my suitcase for this, Jeanette. I'm a bit of an open pack, it has to be said. My suitcase are always bulging. I generally have to pay a bit more to go out the gate. But I would very happily prioritise a section of my suitcase for bras that are going to the women like that you just mentioned, because it touches my heart and soul. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful offering. So thank you so much for sharing your message today. Thank you for coming on the Women Leading Show. It's been a joy to speak to you.
Thank you so much. And thanks for inviting me, Jo.
Oh, no, total pleasure. And obviously your words now will be in our next Women Leading book, Women Leading in Our New World. Jeanette's words will be in this amazing book. Nearly all the authors are in for the book. And this is a wonderful, powerful story of how we can help support other women to lead, because these are women that could be doing more with their life, girls that could move on to become the next leaders and the next, who knows, leaders in commerce, leaders in their communities. So that's all from now for us. My name is Jo Baldwin-Trott. This was the Women Leading Show. Please reach out to me, follow us on Facebook, the Women Leading Show, and also join our conversation on YouTube as well. Please like and share the video. It's a very powerful message, and let's get more people and the women rummaging through your drawers, sorting out your bras. Send them to me. I've got plenty of room. I'll fill up my spare room with them. Save Jeanette's garage for now. And I'm only an hour and a half from London. I can always bring them up when we're allowed to.
And I just want to ask if anybody has panties, take those too. As long as they're clean, good condition, washed and all of that, then we really would appreciate them as well. Because you were talking about the poverty, the period poverty thing, and someone asked me, why didn't I do that? And I said, there are organizations doing that. But what I have discovered is that a lot of the girls, especially in South Africa, don't have panties to put those pads in. So that's the reason I've started to collect panties. So any panties that you have, knickers, please, there definitely will be women wanting to receive them as well.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much, Jeanette. Thank you so much to you for watching and listening. I'll be back in 2 weeks' time at the same time. Take care for now. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.